Sup? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, your official D&D VTuber storyteller with some more RPG horror stories. Yes, I've actually graduated to become a VTuber because before the year ended, I, Morrow, your boy Morrow, did a first live stream. It was actually really fun. I think we could do more of them. I don't know when, I don't know how often. If we can make it a regular thing, I think it'd be pretty cool. If you'd like to see what this live stream looked like, you can go over to the YouTube section, go to the live tab, and just watch the stream, just watch like a run back of it. I think I'll still edit it in a proper full video and everything, so it's not almost 3 hours long. But if you'd like to see live streams from the channel, please do let me know in the comment section below. I'm gonna get to the first RPG horror story for today. DM is offended because player dumps their NPC. Our DM got invested in a backstory for a few NPCs, and one of them was flirting and swooning over a player's character. The character reciprocated the NPC's feelings for a short while, but over time, months of the campaign, they drifted away and the character ultimately ended that relationship. We thought that everyone would just move on, but the DM kept reintroducing that NPC and making it seem like the end of the romance is the end of the world. Creates a narrative in which we should reach out to that NPC and support them. The NPC is a young squire, it's not like they need our support. And it gets really awkward for all of us to interact or flirt with other NPCs or each other's characters. This atmosphere is followed by a passive-aggressive comment. For example, we move on, but my character heard they're like a bad night for supporting that PC, not reaching out to the NPC, and general awkwardness ensues, but we still have stuff to do in the campaign. If your DM is so hell-bent on trying to put your PC and their NPC together, I mean, clearly the DM is a problem here, but if they're going so hard into this, and even after you tell them, please don't do that, please stop doing that, the DM should try to accommodate what the players want. And I get sometimes you want to make your own NPC and you want to see specific romance happen and blossom. You have to decide at some point what's more important to you, the players having fun or the romance. Because I mean, if you can have both at the same time, then you're actually screwing over the player having fun for this romance that you're trying to pull on. If they're not into them, create a different character, try a different thing. I get sometimes DMs really like romance and they really love having some romance in the game. Talk to your players. Can we maybe work together to try to create an NPC that would maybe be to the liking of your character, and just work like that. Talk to your players about this and have an honest conversation, authentic conversation about your characters and what kind of things they would want to do. Would they want to romance with an NPC? Do they want to romance each other? Do they not want to romance anybody at all? Just want to go on an adventure? Talk to your characters and stop trying to shove some NPC romance plot in it. It's cringe. DM makes it toxic. This is a story from over a decade ago. A while ago, I was playing D&D with a group of well-traveled players. As the newest player there, naturally, I wanted to earn my place among the fold, and I was pretty snappy with jokes. Brought food, tried to be as easygoing as possible. One of the players there had an age-old crush on another player, but both of them were married to different people. He would have gone for it if she let him, but she was repulsed by him in those terms. We called this player Ponytail, and the woman he liked, Goth. My brain is berotted so much by the internet. Whenever I hear the word goth, the only thing my brain goes is, oh, Dommy Mommy Goth Girl. I got on pretty well with Goth since our humor ran the same vein. And the other players didn't hate the new vibes either, but it was Ponytail who didn't like me, because Goth laughed at my jokes. He freaking hated me. I could run you through all the times that showed himself, but I'll focus on the one major occurrence. He decided he wanted to DM a campaign. We rolled stats. 4d6 dropped the lowest. Everyone gets their turns to roll up in front of him. I roll like a beast. First roll 18. He's sitting right next to me and has my dice in clear view. Then he says, oh sorry, I wasn't looking. Roll again. Bruh. I pick up the dice and begrudgingly redo my roll. 17. I'll take it. But right before I rolled, he turns to one of the other players and starts talking about Seinfeld or something. Again it says, oh, I didn't know you were rolling, I didn't see it. Next roll, I get something like an 8, and he's like, oh, unlucky. Like now he's watching. I roll high again, and again he refuses to look. Goth even says, yo, stop, he's getting those good rolls. And Ponytail responds with some classic, I didn't see it, so it doesn't count. The rest of my numbers are medium to mediocre, and it's like, whatever. I told him I'd make my character for the next session. Luckily, we never even ended up playing it, and I was back to playing my half-orc barbarian that made enemies wet themselves. He is already married, the Goth is already married, and this guy is just so butthurt that like the OP is just what? Nice, charismatic, not a butthole. Like, maybe the guy should just, think about, I wonder if maybe I wasn't such a butthole and I was kind of nice to people and wasn't, a complete prick. Maybe people would like me too. Maybe the Goth would actually laugh at my jokes as well if I was a little bit more charismatic than I am. What a weird thing to do, dude. What a weird thing to do. Especially if they're married. Like, dude, you're married. You have your own, like, probably wife and kids, I'm assuming, that you gotta, like, focus on. You shouldn't be getting jealous over somebody interacting with the Goth mommy. I don't know, dude. I don't know. The internet has rotted my brain. Either way, the guy's a butthole, and I'm sorry that had to happen to you. But let's get to the next story for today. Player runs down the road crying. Sorry if my formatting is weird, also my grammar isn't the best. This is my first RPG horror story ever, and hopefully the last. This is a long story, but the TLDR is at the bottom. Also, all names are changed. I'm honestly shocked that I'm even here. I truly thought I would never have a horror story of my own. I've been playing D&D since I was 14, and I'm now 36, and never had a bad experience until now. So my mother decided that she would run a D&D campaign with some of her friends, and I was invited to play too. Yay! I love playing D&D with my mom, and I was excited to meet her friends who were all brand new to the game. The people in the story are my mom, age 55, the DM, Clara, age 30 or something, the rogue, Tilly, age 30 something, the fighter, myself, age 36, as the cleric and our problem player, Betty, age 60 something, the wizard. A little background before we lead up to the big blow up. I should have known that things were going to go downhill when I noticed Betty being a bit aggressive towards Clara. Betty would constantly make little jabbing remarks to Clara, out of character, but Clara always seemed chill about it, just shrugging off the pointed comments, smiling and continuing with the game. The entire table noticed Betty's antagonistic attitude towards Clara, but since Clara seemed unfazed, we all let it slide, which was a mistake. We really should have asked Clara if she was okay with Betty's behavior. If you notice problem behavior, always point it out and call it out and say, hey Betty, why are you being such a cranky old lady, huh? Why are you being such a crank? Is crank an insult? I don't know. Anyway, the game progressed, and after a few sessions, Clara and Tilly gained a firmer grasp on their character sheets and overall skills. Betty did not. She continued to have a difficult time navigating her sheet and spells. She would cast a level 2 spell using level 1 slots, as well as try to use spells outside of her class. Honestly though, a player not understanding the rules or getting confused doesn't bother me. I'm more of a role player, and Betty was good at role playing, so I had fun playing with her. But my mom noticed Betty struggling and decided to purchase her a player's handbook. That way she could read through the rules all on her own leisure. Mom also wrote out a bunch of spell cards for Betty. Unfortunately, it didn't really help much. At least I didn't notice a difference in Betty's gameplay. I doubt she even opened the book, but that's just my speculation. I'm sure it's clear to you now that Betty needed a little extra help during gameplay. In the fateful day of the big blow-up, Betty was the first to arrive and says she's not feeling well. She has a chronic illness. Mom asked her if she's sure she wants to play. Betty says she does, that playing will help take her mind off it. Fair enough. I would have the same mindset too. Then Betty starts talking negatively about Clara. I had a dream that Clara came strutting up the fancy clothes and told us that she had fun, but she done playing with us peasants. Instead, she's going to take everything she learned and play D&D with a new friend, better friends. She said this with a twinge of ire in her voice, as if the events really happened. She was angry at Clara for betraying the group. I laughed and said, "That's a wild dream," gently trying to nudge her into realizing that getting upset over something that didn't actually happen is a bit much. You would think in reality that people would realize, oh, it was just a dream, so I shouldn't get so upset about it. But no, people got upset at me before because I ended up in their dream, and I guess I did something that they didn't like, and the people got mad at me. I was accused of like betraying somebody's trust or being a jerk, but like, can I be held accountable if it's in a dream? It's in your head's imagination. It's in your dreamland. I didn't travel to your dreamland. Excuse me, I'm not a tiefling IRL that has all these magical powers and stuff to be able to affect your dreams and everything. In real life, I'm just a human. Very inhuman, but still I'm a human. A few moments later, Tilly and Clara show up together, and before Clara's left butt cheek can touch her seat, Betty purses her lips and tells her about the dream. Clara laughed nervously, saying she would never do that, and I again reiterated, haha, what a funny dream, putting some emphasis on the word dream. You probably didn't say it like that, but I think it's kind of hilarious to try to be like, ha ha ha, what a dream, guys, wow. You know, just kind of like really amplify the awkwardness behind it. As usual, we shrug off the odd interactions and begin playing. This is the last day of our campaign. After all, we're going to fight the BBG. All of us even dressed up for the occasion. Betty sported a brand new pair of elf ears that unfortunately kept falling off. This is the start of the proverbial dominoes falling. First domino, the ears kept falling off Betty's head. This happened a few times, and eventually my mom said, "You don't have to wear them if they're bothering you." Betty took this as a slight, thinking that my mom was annoyed with her, but my mom just wanted to make sure that Betty was comfortable. Second domino, Betty rolls a natural 20 on an initiative roll, which basically means it's just a regular old 20, nothing special happens, but it's still nice because you most likely get to go first. However, Betty didn't really know that, so later on when someone else rolled a nat 20 on a hit die, my mom made a big deal of it and brought out a special success die. Basically, you can roll it to see what cool things your character did if you could think of something on your own. Betty saw this and thought it was unfair that my mom was ignoring her nat 20. I tried to explain that it was rolled on initiative roll, but Betty didn't react. So she either didn't hear me or didn't understand why I was bringing that up. I looked around and no one spoke up, so I figured Betty must have rolled a nat 20 on a different roll when I was stuffing my face with snacks. A few days later, she confirmed that the nat 20 was in fact rolled for initiative. So my mom apologized for not seeing the 20 and told Betty to make sure she announces her nat 20s because they're a big deal. Mom also said that Betty could roll the success die on her next attack, but Betty was thoroughly peeved by this point and snapped back, "Maybe you should be paying attention." My mom was shocked. I have a lot going on. I'm running combat. There's a bit of an awkward silence, and then we continued playing. Well, yeah, definitely Betty is a crank, that's for sure. I mean, cranky old lady being cranky old lady, I suppose. The third and final domino. Betty wanted to cast a spell that wasn't a part of her class. I can't remember what spell it was, but it wasn't a wizard spell. At least not one of her school of knowledge. Mom paused the game to double check the handbook and then passed it over to Betty. "I don't see that spell on the list. Here, take a look. You see it there?" Oh lordy, this sent Betty over the edge. She started to get red in the face and blurted out, Yes, it's not there. Don't treat me like a child. I'm not stupid." My mom stands up while simultaneously raising her hands like she's surrendering. I'm not. I'm trying to help you and you're starting to get worked up. But I'm not worked up. You're taking things personally and you're overreacting. Okay. Well, let's relax and continue the game. As she started to sit back down, Betty muttered something under her breath. I couldn't hear what she said, but apparently my mom did because she just said, "Oh, now why would you say that to me?" Betty started to cry and said that she doesn't know why she does this, why she pushes everyone away. It really broke my heart to hear that. Before I could offer any words of comfort, she started hissing out profanities and say she needs to leave right the frick now. My mom offered to give her a ride home. Betty had gotten a ride to mom's. She declined. So I chimed in saying that maybe we should end the session or at least take a break. Then I took a moment to reassure Betty that I wanted her to stay and play, but understood if she needed to leave. She decided to take a break, and we all sat there in stunned silence until it was shattered by Betty. "Oh, I see. You don't want me here." She then hurriedly got up from the table and started to speed walk away. I was startled and called after her, "What? No, you can sit here. You can take a break any way you want, Betty." And Clara called out to Betty too, urging her to come back. Okay, I know I really shouldn't be laughing, but I'm just trying to imagine like an old lady just speed walking through. Is she just like trying to get away from everything, right? Is it messed up to imagine the situation? When I read these stories, I have like a little movie that plays in my head as I'm trying to imagine all the things going on. A 60-year-old woman speed walking through the room is just, for whatever reason, it's just making me crack up or something. Is that messed up with me? I am sorry if it is. I am sorry. Let's continue. Betty stopped, turned back, and started calling herself stupid. I audibly huffed and told her she's not stupid. Betty continued to cry, and then she said she's going outside to wait for her husband to pick her up. Mom then offered to go outside with her because it's cold and she didn't want Betty to be alone. Betty yelled back, "I'm not a child," then ran outside, and a moment later we saw her running down the road while weeping. Her husband intercepted her shortly after. All of our hearts were pounding from the interaction. She just flew off the handle, despite us trying to de-escalate the situation. Poor Tilly was shaking from the whole ordeal. She wasn't able to speak for a bit. Eventually we talked about our feelings and ultimately decided to finish the campaign. I'm glad we did, because the rest of us had a lot of fun and it helped us return to normalcy. Later that night, I messaged Betty saying, "I'm sorry everything became so overwhelming. Hugs. Hope you feel better and are able to decompress for the rest of the day." She wrote back a simple yet effective "I'm sorry." And you would think that was the end of it all, but of course it wasn't. And now the final conclusion to the Betty arc. Hopefully it turns around good, honestly. Okay, so we have a D&D messenger group, and even though Betty said she wasn't coming back, we all decided not to kick her from the group right away, just in case she changed her mind. A week goes by and she hasn't checked the group at all, but she has been making passive Facebook statuses regarding the incident. She even suggested that she has to go to the hospital because of how much stress it put her through. Tilly is pretty upset by this and decided to have a heart-to-heart with Betty. Apparently, Tilly and Betty have been friends for a while, and Betty seemed to respect what Tilly had to say. She said she was truly sorry for what happened and for the unfair Facebook post, that she wouldn't post them anymore. Though I'm sure you, dear reader, realized that Betty most definitely kept on posting. Haha. I ignored the post, but my mom decided that she needed to reach out to Betty and talk things out. She called her, but got no answers, so she left a voicemail. Now, I haven't heard the voicemail, but I could surmise the tone just from knowing my mother. It was most likely apologetic for the miscommunication, with a firm air, and she most likely brought up issues that bothered her too. Betty received the voicemail and goes nuclear, calling my mom up and swearing, telling her how rude the voicemail was, and how my mom ruined her anniversary. None of us knew that her anniversary was that day. Betty quickly got onto Facebook and moaned about how my mom called her, screaming and intentionally ruined her anniversary. Like I said, I didn't personally hear the voicemail or phone call, but I'm 100% sure that my mother did not scream at Betty. Well, Mom talked to us all, and we agreed that it was time to officially kick Betty from the group. She hadn't even checked the group since the big blow-up. Plus, there really wasn't any coming back after how she treated Mom. We all still remain Facebook friends though, and watched as Betty obsessed over being kicked. I figured she was just venting and would eventually move on. 2 weeks later, and she's still talking about it, but this time she was blatantly lying. She posted saying that we yelled at her and that we were all furious with her for being sick and crying, that we kicked her from the group because she couldn't handle chronically ill people who are struggling. Basically telling all our Facebook friends that we're a group of malevolent a-holes who hate people with chronic illnesses. Well, if you can't be right, I guess all you can do is just make up lies, I suppose. Kind of a scummy thing to do, but what can you really do if you're a crappy person? I couldn't ignore this post. I decided to reply telling her that none of us yelled at her, that in fact we had tried really hard to de-escalate the situation and wanted her to stay, that she insisted on leaving and we certainly weren't going to force her to stay. Also let her know that I was not and am not furious with her, but that this drama is making me very uncomfortable and that I don't think we can be friends anymore. I still feel a bit sad for Betty though. After all, she might be purposely pushing people away due to some sort of trauma that she is dealing with. I hate that she's struggling, but it's ultimately up to her to seek help. Anyway, I went on to set the record straight with my reply, which was promptly deleted. Not even sure if she read the entire thing, that's how fast it was deleted. I post again and poof, deleted once more. So I message her, Betty, it's really unfair to blast us in public and then not even let us speak our piece. It's not public, only my friends. Life isn't fair. I asked her why she was being mean and that she promptly unfriended me, but I was told that she made a Facebook post saying, I'm not mean, I'm a hippie. Whatever that means. Heck, she even blocked Tilly because Tilly had replied to the post saying that she felt hurt by it. Like, how dare Tilly feel upset about her friend saying terrible lies about her, right? Or Tilly's really upset about losing her friend like this. But honestly, it seemed inevitable. Betty said it herself. I don't know why I do this. I don't know why I kept pushing people away. So most likely, she would have kicked Tilly out of her life at some point anyway. Still, sucks though. So yeah, good riddance, Betty. I hope you figure your crap out. I truly do wish you the best, but please never bring your crap near me, my mom, or my friends ever again. That's the end. I hope if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and thanks for reading about my first bad experience playing TTRPGs. Thanks for introducing me to the subreddit Crypt Crab, Crispy Crow, Drake, and Sir Nox. I love listening to y'all's vids while I'm working. And there we go, folks. I think we finally found the oldest problem player ever. I guess the moral of the story is somebody's creating such a issue at your table, probably best to remove them, especially if there's somebody that's so charged to try to eventually pin the blame on other people and start things for the sake of starting things. Maybe she's unwell, and if she is, I hope she gets the treatment she desperately needs in order to feel better. This sort of behavior is just not okay, dude. It's just, none of it is okay. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.